maybe this comes over here. Yep. Welcome everyone, my name is Carl. I'm a Bob Ross certified painting instructor. I thought today we'd do a fantastic mountain scene. So get your paints ready or sit back and relax. Thank you again to those who've watched my videos. I greatly appreciate it. Let's go up to the canvas. Up here I have a 16 by 20 canvas. I've covered it in a very thin coat of liquid white. We want the liquid white to remain wet so we can move and slide paint. So let's start with the sky. I have my knife and we're gonna mix up a little bit of titanium white and phthalo blue. We do have the white, the liquid white on the canvas, and that'll mix and dull down the color. But I kind of want to start off with a more muted blue color. So this is my 1-inch brush. You could certainly use a 2-inch brush. And we're gonna do little X strokes. We'll just do a nice blue sky, maybe some clouds, and we'll put a nice mountain up here. So I'm just doing X strokes. There. Let it mix with the liquid white. And you can take it to whatever softness you want. I actually like the streaks in my sky. I think it adds some variation. And then maybe in the corners, we'll go into a little bit more blue just to darken the corners a touch. Not too much. It helps bring your eye towards the center. There. We got a clean, dry 1-inch brush. I clean my brushes with baby oil, and I actually have quite a few brushes going during my painting, so I don't have to clean them until after. Just softening the sky, horizontal strokes here. I'm gonna use that same brush, and we're gonna go into a little bit of the white, titanium white. Now, all we want to focus on is that top edge. I will have a mountain in there, so that'll cover up some of it, but we're just tapping. And this is another fun way to do clouds. Just tapping. And leave some of the sky coming through. That'll again add the variations and things. Now I'm going to bring out my 2-inch brush. I don't use it too much, but you could use a 1-inch brush, 2-inch brush, and watch this. I'm just going to go up into the base of the cloud, and look at how soft. I'm using the corner of the brush and kind of doing a circular motion. And then we'll fluff. Soft, soft. Corner. I'm going right up to the edge. And we're going to fluff. And then go across 2 hairs and some hair, like light pressure. Let's go into a little bit of the Prussian blue, a little bit of black. And I want this to be kind of a medium color. Let's take some of the titanium white. Just to dull it down a bit. All right, our mountain. Maybe there's a big peak right here. Yep, and we're just gonna scrape all that paint away. Reload. Maybe this peak, maybe it's kind of a steeper peak. And I think on this painting we'll have the light coming from the left side. Most of my mountains, the light comes from the right side. We'll change it up today. You can do whatever makes you happy. And remember, when you're doing these mountains, you know, having shaky hand, add some little cracks and crevices so it's not perfectly straight. There. And maybe this one comes right over here. Let's take that 1-inch brush and let's start shaping. So we're pulling, think of the lay of the land. We have our highlight, or our shadows will be going this direction. I almost flipped it because that's what I normally do. But for today's shadows, we'll go this direction, and then highlights will go to the left. And remember, we do have liquid white on here. That'll mix and blend and soften. There. They're a nice base color. And we'll take a little bit of the red. I don't want too much. Little roll of paint. And like I said, we're going to bring the snow from the left side. There. And maybe it just kind of breaks this way. Ooh. You can feel the canvas grab the paint. I'm just letting the snow break. Bring it down here. Maybe there's a little bit out here. Oh yeah, we don't want to leave them out. Little light catching that side, maybe a little bit right there. Yeah, I like that. And then let's mix up a shadow. I'm going to go into some white, little bit of that base color, maybe a little bit more blue. There. You know what I'm thinking? I actually feel like I want to go a little darker. Maybe a little bit of the Prussian blue. And being that I already have some lighter tones on there, there. Look at that. I don't want much. Take your time. Yeah, maybe this peak kind of comes in front. Ooh, look at that. Just some indications of some shadows. And look at, we have two-tone variations over there with the dark colors. And I want to go back into my highlights. There. Maybe this comes over here. Yep. There. You know, in your world, you can move mountains. You have a lot of power. Now I see right in here, I'm going to use the small part of the knife. I want to put a little bit more shadow. Maybe there's a little bit more shadow right in here. There, and then let's shape that up with some highlights. There. Oh, I like that. Maybe we'll put just a few little kind of bright zingers across right in here. There. Okay, let's do a little mist at the base. I'm going to take that 2-inch brush and we're just going to start tapping right at the base. Now, if you think of the highlights flow this way, I want the longer direction of the brush in line. And I'm just going to carefully, not too high, I'm tapping, and then we're just going to pull up. And you can see it'll start to blend and soften the base of the mountain. And then this direction, the shadows, who knows, maybe they have foothills. There. And I'm just going to lightly mix this area right in here, like a whisper. I'm going to mix up, I'm going to take this mountain mixture. We'll kind of go right in there. I'm going to add a little green, sap green. Maybe even a little bit more white. I don't want it to be too bright. I want it to be way in the distance. And I just grabbed one of my 1-inch brushes that had some of the blue. And I'm kind of tapping off the side of the palette, not directly into the paint. I want this to have very little paint. And I'm really looking for very rough indications. And you could almost slide because there wouldn't be a lot of detail back here. We're just looking for some basic color. There. I'm just tapping and then blending at the same time. Way far away. Now, if you do tap, watch this, I'll go tap, and just here and there. Look at that, you can be very intentional. Looks like there's so many things happening. Not too much paint, not too much. There. And we'll go into a little bit of black, not much. A little bit of sap green. A little bit of the blue, Prussian blue. Be a little Van Dyke. All right, I'm going to go into, this is a small fan brush. I'm just tapping. Really care about that top edge. Tilting the brush up just a little bit. We'll go back to that 2-inch brush. And I'm going to really push You can probably hear it. Now I don't care about down here because we're going to put stuff there. But this will soften way far away. Let's take a little sap green, and we'll add a little phthalo blue, and we'll go into some white. Maybe a little bit more blue. Way, way, way far in the distance. So it's kind of a light teal color, turquoise, and maybe way back here. You can almost scrub in color again. Maybe there's some way distant grasses. There. And then really, really quickly go into a little cad yellow. Ooh, look at that. Light's catching way back there. Just a little zing of light. Here's the mountain catching some light. Maybe there's a meadow of grass back there. There, we'll kind of bring it forward. There we go. Let's go into some of the black, a little bit more sap green, a little bit of the blues, Van Dyke, and crimson, a little crimson. So we have a little darker green. Load lots of paint. Tap the trunk, corner of the brush. There. There's our happy evergreen tree. We'll have a layer of trees. Just a fun scene. Try to create some depth. Some bushes and things. Just tapping. And we'll start shaping that with some highlights. And now if you're having trouble with the paint sticking, you can use paint thinner. I have walnut oil, but we are going up into the mountain here. So you're probably going to need to thin your paint just a touch. Ooh, there we go. There's a happy tree. And I'm using the corner of the brush. Let's give that one a friend on this side. Yeah, maybe. There's a little one right there. In your world, you'll see things you can add. That one's a little bit crooked. That's okay. I'm going to go into that teal color. Maybe a hint of the ochre. Not too bright. I'm going to go brighter than that, though. I think we can go brighter than that. But I still want this to be on the darker side, just in this section here. Oh, I like that. Ooh, look at that. Just some grasses back there. Let's take that filbert brush. I'm going to grab some of this teal color. Maybe there's little bushes. Yeah, a little brighter. Maybe a little bit more of that color. So I just added a little bit more ochre. So I don't want too much. This is the filbert brush. And you can see there's just some indications of some color. Who knows, maybe we'll change the flavor a little bit. There's some indications of, ooh, I like that, some red. Way back there. And I'm going to grab another fan brush. Go into a little bit of the green, a little bit of the cad yellow. And we do have the light coming from the left side. Now again, these are far away. Look at that. Just some indications. You should, and when you're painting, you know, it's your world. Painting should make you happy. You know, painting is definitely a mood thing. I find that depending on my mood, you know, I might paint different scenes. But you should definitely do stuff that makes you happy. Let's go right into some of this yellow. And maybe right in here we have some more vibrant, maybe some grasses that are catching some of the light. Let's kind of blend and mix. Let's go into the big fan brush. I might even have to mix up some more color here. We'll see. Big fan brush. I'm actually going to mix up a little bit more. Let's bring it a little darker as we're coming forward. And that should stand out a little bit more as we go in front of this grouping. But look at that, how that pushed that layer of trees back. Corner of the brush. Just by adding a little bit more dark. Yeah, we can have a lot of fun with the layers. Yep. Wow, there's a big one. Get a little carried away. I'm just pressing with the corner. And then as we get kind of just towards the side, we'll just scrub in some color. And then let's add a few on this side. Yeah, there's a little one right there. Just a little one, little friend. Maybe this one's a little bigger. This one overlooks this side of the painting. What a view these trees have, huh? So I'm just adding more pressure, corner of the brush, and then I'm going to scrub in some color. And then while we're at it, I'm going to take this yellow color that I had on here, and we'll just kind of scrub in, shape the lay of the land. Let's take our knife, go into a little bit of dark sienna. I'll come down here. Let's put in some tree trunks. Just catching some light. And for the foreground highlights, let's come in here. Let's take a little bit of that cad yellow. I add a little bit of Prussian blue. And I want to thin it down just a touch. The light's hitting on that one side. Ooh, I like that. Think of how that light would hit the trees. Not too much, and then as we get lower, we'll get a little bit softer. Don't lose all that dark. We want to kind of see the layers. See, that looks kind of like branches. Oh, so beautiful. Just a little bit in there, and we'll get this big one here. It's kind of fun for me since I normally highlight from the right side, just to change it up a bit. Red, I have my half round. We're gonna have some fun here. And a little bit of the blue, more paint. So I'm tapping. And with this brush, you get to really have the control. I love the control of this brush. Ooh, look at that. Maybe a little bit of the red. I want to keep this area a little bit darker. Just tapping. Let's change the flavor. Watch this. Just a little hint of red in there. And look at that. It just varies the flavor a bit. We can go back into our yellows. So I have my 1-inch brush. And let's kind of tap up into this area. Just shape the beautiful bushes. You know, I see one. I missed a spot right over there. We'll put in a dark bush here. Just press. Look at that. All right, let's go into a little bit of, I'm going into black and green. And you know what we have? Yep. We got some happy bushes right in here. Start moving across. There. Go right into some of the red. Maybe we'll dull it down just a little bit. Let's have some fun with some bushes. Ooh, look at that. And we can change the flavor. Maybe we have some blue. Ooh, look at that. Just some wildflowers, maybe. And I'm just rotating the handle. I'm going to go into a little bit of the yellow. Cad yellow. Put some sparklers on here. There. And let's just scrub in a little color under here. And I'm doing this because I don't want a lot of thick paint. So I'm kind of just blending. I might add some more bushes down there, we'll see. Or maybe a little bit more. I added a little bit of phthalo blue. There we go. Tap, tap, tap. Maybe we got some layers. Just reload. Think of how the grass comes up to the bushes here. Maybe they kind of recess back into the shadows. There we go. A little bit more black. Right in here. Wow. Just another layer. I'm just tapping. So I have I'm going to go into kind of a reddish color, thin down a little bit. There. Ooh. So these are a little bit darker. And then I think I'll do one more round where I'll go back in with some slightly brighter highlight areas. Yeah, let's pop these. Yeah. Ooh, this will be a little brighter now. Ooh, look at that. I use walnut oil. There, I'm just kind of adding some finishing touches of where I see some of these bushes. There, that'll pop a little bit more. Just there's bushes and flowers. Here and there. And then I can take my knife here and we'll put in some sticks and twigs. You can just put all these details. There we go. And I think with that, we have a finished painting. I'm going to sign it. I really hope you enjoyed this mountain scene. Check out my website at carlvaughnartistry.com. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Happy painting. See you next time.